Entertainment TV. Today is the 4th of February 2023. Remember, guys, to like, share, comment, and follow, and turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our new uploads that you do upload here. And here's the latest, guys. The Zanu PF led government is reportedly busy tying up all loose ends, including fast-tracking passage of the delimitation report, election-related legislation in Parliament, and bussing its members to register on the voters roll as part of a wider plot to call an early election that will find the opposition ill-prepared. Newsday weekender is ahead. According to the constitution, the country is supposed to hold general elections between July 27 and August 26, but they got think tank varieties as one that there are machinations to dissolve parliament and call an early election. Varieties, in its latest weekly election watch report, said the fast tracking of election-linked bills raised eyebrows. There are straws in the wind which may point to an early election. Government may be trying to get important bills through parliament quickly so that parliament can close for an early election. Varieties said some of the bills could be seen as strengthening the ruling party's grip on society in advance of an election. The PVO's Private Voluntary Organizations Amendment Bill and the Patriotic Bill, for example, to say that there have been problems with delimitation is putting it mildly. The preliminary delimitation report that was presented to the president on December 26 was deeply flawed. As we pointed out in our election watches, the first of 2023 and the second of 2023, and as Parliament pointed out in its report to the president, no one seems to like the report except perhaps the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and her deputy. Last week, Justice Minister Zambi sought to leave to move a motion to allow Parliament to sit from Tuesday to Friday to deal with various stages of the bills, which varieties said might signify that the ruling party wants early pause. Some of the outstanding bills that are before Parliament include the Judicial Laws Amendment Bill, National Security Council Bill, Prisons and Correctional Services Bill, Child Justice Bill, Police Amendment Bill, and the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Bill. Besides the fast-tracked Parliament business, concerns have also been raised over the speed at which ZEC is pushing for adoption of the delimitation report. As we explained in our earlier election watches, delimitation must be completed at least 6 months before polling day in an election if it is to be used for that election, Section 161(2) of the Constitution, and unless Parliament is dissolved early, the next general election must be held between July 28 and August 26 this year. So, if this delimitation report is to be used in the mid-year election, it must have been published between January 28 for an election held on July 28 and February 26 for an election on August 26. The report is already too late for a July election, and the deadline for an August election is fast approaching and probably cannot be met, Varieties said yesterday. There's another factor militating against early completion of the final delimitation report. 7 ZEC commissioners apparently disassociated themselves from the preliminary report and said that a proper delimitation should be conducted after this year's election, implying that the election would have to be held using existing electoral boundaries. It added those 7 commissioners are unlikely to agree to a final delimitation report based on the flawed preliminary report, but their votes will be needed for ZEC to approve the final report. ZEC has only 9 commissioners altogether, including the chairperson and the deputy chairperson. If the 7 commissioners cannot agree to a final report, then it will be impossible for ZEC to meet any deadline, however long. If a final delimitation report cannot be produced in time and existing electoral boundaries remain in place, an early election will be easier to arrange because it will not be necessary to reorganize and relocate polling stations, constituency centers, and so on. Yesterday, ZEC chairperson Priscilla Chigumba handed over a revised draft of the delimitation report to President Emerson Mnangagwa at State House, saying she had incorporated some of the submissions made by MPs and the President There were a lot of concerns raised, but in response which we have submitted to the president, we have taken each concern one by one. We have explained where we have agreed that there is need for correction. We have not been shy to say that there was an error. Where we feel that the concern has no merit, we said so. Consequent upon those corrections that we have made, we have redrawn some boundaries and aspects, she said. But constitutional law expert Lavoma Duku expressed reservations over Zek's latest move. There's no constitutional provision for them to do that. The constitution provides for them to give the president only the final report, which he should then gazette it within 14 days. Nonetheless, they will not be violating any law if they do that, because the same constitution does not prohibit them to do so, Matuku said. He, however, dismissed speculation that government was planning to push for early elections. The speeding up of government business to close parliament early to release the ministers who are also members of parliament and give them more time to go and campaign in their constituencies. A resolution to have elections and at an early date is passed in parliament, and the legislators are the ones who pass it. So it does not make sense for them to push for an early date because they need time to campaign for a resounding victory. The speculation of an early date is therefore baseless. It is raised by non-politicians. Political analyst Vivid Gwede said an early election would advantage Zanu PF over the opposition, but more importantly, in the sense that the delimitation process would not be completed and other electoral reforms will be put aside. Zanu PF will also be relying on its incumbency and funds for campaign finances, he said. Opposition Citizens Coalition for Change (CCC) spokesperson Fadzai Mahere said her party has always been ready for elections. They have been preparing for these elections for over a year, and they have conducted the largest mass mobilization project across all provinces, rural and urban constituencies, and across sections of society. We are ready for the polls whenever they come. We are confident that Zanu PF can never win a free and fair election in Zimbabwe, she said. Zanu PF spokesperson Christopher Mchangwa also said, we are ready whenever the date is proclaimed. We have done everything necessary in preparation for the elections. What we are now waiting for is the proclamation of the election date by the president. We are not pushing for any date. We want to hear from the executive, but it is not a secret that Zanu PF has the majority in parliament. MDCT Senator Morgan Committee said there was no need to settle for an early election. Let's follow the constitution, committee said. It will be undemocratic and autocratic to allow people to throw the country in a panic mode because of their fear of losing an election. So guys, that's the latest here. So all the political parties which are contesting for this year's elections, it seems like they are ready, they're 100% to go for these elections. And so are they gonna be free and fair? But before we even talk about that, we need to talk about Nyaye voters roll, we need to talk about Nyaye delimitation report. So the only thing that we can do is to wait for President Emerson Mnangagwa to gazette this delimitation report. Then we'll be back here with more updates. Just want to say my words, my constituency, Edu Akamira say before we even talk about Nyaye voters roll. So daily news, breaking news, everyday news on Prince Mila Entertainment TV. Remember, all the updates, Panyazima elections, they'll be here on this channel 24/7. So you need to be part of us. You need to like, you need to share, you need to subscribe, you need to join our membership family so that you won't miss any of our premium content that we post up here each and every day, each and every week. So be part of us here on Prince Mila Entertainment TV. You're listening, you're watching to daily news, breaking news, everyday news. Bless up.